Welcome to my channel. Old Valuable Coins. The obverse of the 1971 half dollar features the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. The reverse shows the presidential seal, created by Frank Gasparro. Although the design stayed unchanged, the metal composition was completely different from previous years. Instead of the 40% silver used from 1965 to 1970, the new 1971 half dollar contains no silver at all. It is made of a copper core with outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. This change created a new color tone, a different weight, and even new striking challenges. Collectors notice that many 1971 half dollars show weak strikes, flat details, or metal flowlines not seen on silver issues. These characteristics make high-quality examples harder to find and more desirable. Now let's talk about where the 1971 half dollar was minted. 3 United States mint facilities struck the coin: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark. Denver coins carry the D mint mark, and San Francisco produced specially minted collector strikes often referred to as higher quality pieces. Even though millions were minted in all locations, finding certain varieties today can be surprisingly difficult. Each minting facility created its own set of interesting characteristics, making the 1971 half dollar a rewarding coin for collectors who enjoy hunting for details, errors, and special features. One of the most talked about aspects of the 1971 half dollar is the variety and error category. Because the mint was transitioning to the new clad composition, planchet issues were common. This means some coins were struck on improperly mixed metal layers. Some coins appear with darker streaks, missing clad layers, or unusual toning because the metal did not bond evenly. A missing clad layer error is one of the most dramatic, where the outer nickel layer is absent on one side, exposing the pure copper core. Collectors consider these very desirable because they are visually striking and unmistakable. Another common error is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet is not perfectly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. Off-center 1971 half dollars can range from very slight misalignments to extreme misalignments where a large portion of the coin is blank. The more dramatic the shift, the more valuable the coin can become. There are also double die varieties. A doubled die occurs when the coin's die receives a doubled impression during manufacturing. On some 1971 half dollars, this doubling can appear on the lettering, on Kennedy's profile, or around the year. Doubling can be subtle or bold depending on how the die was created. Collectors are always searching for bold doubling because it can significantly increase the desirability of the coin. Another category involves wrong planchet errors, where a coin was accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination. For example, a 1971 half dollar struck on a quarter planchet or struck on a foreign coin blank creates a remarkable collectible that stands out in any collection. Wrong planchet errors from the early 1970s are scarce but highly exciting when discovered. When discussing the 1971 half dollar, it's important to explore how values vary dramatically based on condition, strike quality, errors, and special varieties. Circulated examples are extremely common because millions entered everyday commerce. However, collectors look for coins with crisp details, bright surfaces, and minimal marks. Because the copper-nickel layers wear differently than silver, finding an attractive 1971 half dollar in high-end condition becomes more challenging. The minting process of the early clad era often resulted in uneven strikes, so strong details on Kennedy's hair, the eagle's wings, and the lettering make a noticeable difference. A well-struck coin with smooth fields, sharp details, and no distracting contact marks can stand out significantly. Another category of interest is tokens of natural toning. Over decades, the copper core beneath the nickel layers can produce beautiful color shifts. Some 1971 half dollars display blue, violet, gold, or rainbow tones due to storage conditions, chemical exposure, or long-term oxidation. Toned clad coins are less common compared to silver toning, so collectors appreciate attractive color patterns. A 1971 half dollar with eye-catching toning can be far more desirable than a dull or heavily worn coin. Now let's look deeper into the mintage numbers because collectors love coins with a story rooted in production statistics. The Philadelphia Mint produced tens of millions of 1971 half dollars. The Denver Mint also produced a massive quantity. The San Francisco Mint created high-quality pieces for collectors, but the number is still huge compared to older coins. However, despite the high mintage, not all coins survived in nice condition. Many were released into circulation and experienced heavy wear. Others were stored in rolls or bags where they rubbed against each other, leading to surface marks. High-quality strikes can be far scarcer than the mintage suggests. This condition scarcity is one of the reasons collectors still enjoy searching for premium examples in old rolls or inherited collections. Another reason the 1971 half-dollar remains popular today is its connection to President Kennedy. Even decades after its release, the Kennedy half-dollar holds a strong emotional and historical presence. It symbolizes an important era in American history, and many families saved these coins as keepsakes. Because of this sentimental value, millions of 1971 halves were preserved, creating a large supply for today's collectors. But again, most of these saved coins were stored without protection, meaning they might show dull surfaces or light wear. Only a smaller percentage remain in beautiful condition, which is why collectors appreciate finding high-quality examples. Speaking of collector appeal, the 1971 half-dollar is also a gateway coin for new hobbyists. Its large size makes the design easy to study, and the transition from silver to clad metal creates a built-in history lesson about the changes in US coinage. New collectors quickly learn to examine details such as strike strength, luster quality, rim marks, and die features. This coin encourages beginners to pay attention to things like doubling, die cracks, die polishing marks, and metal flow lines. It's a perfect introduction to understanding how coins are made and how to evaluate them. As we continue exploring this coin for a full 20-minute discussion, it's worth diving deeper into how collectors hunt for interesting pieces. Searching through old bank rolls, coin jars, inherited collections, and even estate sales can lead to incredible discoveries. A missing clad layer error, a dramatic off-center example, or a bold doubled die can turn a common 1971 half-dollar into a special collectible. The thrill of searching keeps this coin active in the hobby even today. Another aspect worth mentioning is how the copper-nickel composition reacts over time. First up, the 1972 half-dollar from the United States is one of the most talked-about coins in modern American numismatics, and today we're diving deep into everything that makes the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar special, valuable, collectible, and historically important. If you've ever wondered why collectors pay close attention to certain varieties, why some versions of the 1972 half-dollar are worth far more than face value, and what makes this coin remain popular decades after its release, then stay with me as we explore every detail, every rarity, and every surprising fact that turns a standard 50-cent coin into a treasure of American coinage. The 1972 half-dollar carries the legacy of President John F. Kennedy, whose portrait has remained on the half-dollar since 1964. Even though the 1972 issue came years after the original silver design, the emotional and historical value of this coin remains very strong. Many Americans kept Kennedy half-dollars as keepsakes, gifts, and reminders of a period of national reflection. But beyond sentimental value, the 1972 half-dollar holds many hidden secrets that collectors today continue to search for. The 1972 half-dollar was struck primarily in copper-nickel clad composition, replacing the silver-rich versions of the 1960s. This makes the 1972 issue widely available, but not all 1972 halves are created equal. Millions of these coins were produced, yet certain mint varieties, certain errors, and certain condition levels make some examples far more valuable than others. When people talk about the most interesting coins from the 1970s, the 1972 half-dollar often stands out because of the unique combination of high mintage, common circulation, and surprising rare die varieties that slipped into the system. These unusual varieties are what collectors look for, turning an ordinary coin search into something exciting. The obverse features the strong and dignified profile of John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His portrait is detailed with crisp hairlines and a bold presence that symbolizes leadership and legacy. The inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" wrap around the portrait, with the date 1972 positioned prominently below. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, you find the enduring presidential seal, with the eagle holding arrows and an olive branch, encircled by stars and the inscription United States of America and half-dollar. Even though the design remained unchanged from previous years, subtle differences in die polishing, striking quality, and mint characteristics distinguish 1972 halves from each other. Most collectors know that the Philadelphia and Denver mints struck large numbers of the 1972 half-dollar. But what makes them interesting is that certain die anomalies produced some incredibly popular varieties. These rare types can turn a coin worth 50 cents into something that collectors chase due to scarcity and demand. For example, some coins are known for unusual doubling on inscriptions, some carry minting imperfections that create unique textures, and others show misaligned details that happen during rapid production. These varieties exist because the early 1970s experienced intense coinage demand, and the mint pushed production at high speed. Whenever output increases, the chances of errors and unexpected die states also increase. When you look closely at a 1972 half dollar, you may notice small differences in lettering, spacing, rim thickness, or the sharpness of the eagle's feathers. These small details often help determine if the coin comes from a common die or from one of the rare ones collectors hunt for. Some 1972 halves show interesting doubling on the motto or on Kennedy's profile. Others display die cracks, which appear as raised lines that come from deterioration during production. Some show off-center design elements, while others carry planchette marks that happened before striking. All of these details contribute to the uniqueness of the collectible 1972 half dollar. Another important aspect of the 1972 half dollar is its place in American circulation. During this period, half dollars circulated less frequently than dimes and quarters, and many people kept them instead of spending them. This led to a surprising phenomenon. A large number of 1972 half dollars were stored in drawers, boxes, and jars across the country. As a result, many remain in better condition than other denominations from the same period, and this makes the 1972 half dollar an interesting coin for condition-based collecting. Even though they were produced in high numbers, truly high-quality examples free from scratches, contact marks, and are not as common as people think. Coins that look sharp, brilliant, and well-struck often stand out dramatically from the rest. Collectors today still search coin rolls, old collections, and inherited boxes hoping to find a rare 1972 variety. Some versions can be worth much more than face value, especially coins with strong minting anomalies or coins preserved with original mint luster. Many people don't realize that the best treasures are often found in unexpected places. A simple coin jar or a rolled half dollar from a bank may hide a rare die variety or a minting oddity from 1972. This is one of the reasons coin collectors enjoy the hobby so much. Every search has the potential to reveal history. The story of the 1972 half dollar is also deeply connected to the Kennedy half dollar series overall. After the assassination of John F. Kennedy in 1963, Americans demanded a coin that honored him. His likeness was placed on the half dollar starting in 1964, and the public's emotional connection created one of the strongest followings in modern coinage history. Even by 1972, nearly a decade later, people continued to view the Kennedy half dollar as more than just currency. The coin represented memory, legacy, and patriotism. This emotional value continues to attract collectors today. The 1972 half dollar also represents a transition period in American currency. By this time, silver had been removed from circulation coins, and the mint focused on long-lasting, low-cost metal compositions. The copper-nickel-clad design used in 1972 has now become standard across many denominations. This makes the 1972 half dollar a historically significant snapshot of America's shift in coin production methods. Understanding this change helps collectors appreciate the broader history of U.S. mint operations and how the coinage system adapted to economic needs. When collectors evaluate a 1972 half dollar, they look at several key details. The strength of the strike is important. Coins with sharp details in Kennedy's hair, the eagle's wings, and the tiny stars are preferred. Luster also matters, especially for coins that were never handled harshly. Surface quality makes a big difference too, because the large size of the half dollar means marks show easily. A coin with smooth surfaces, bright shine, and minimal imperfections always stands out. Another part of evaluation involves identifying special varieties or unusual minting characteristics. People enjoy searching for doubled elements, die cracks, rim variations, and other features that make one coin more unique than another. Now we will explore the 1974 half dollar carries the legacy of President John F. Kennedy, whose assassination in 1963 led to the rapid creation of a new coin design to honor him. The Kennedy half dollar series began in 1964, and by 1974, it had already become one of the most recognizable coins in America. Even though the half dollar had largely disappeared from daily circulation by the 1970s, millions were still minted each year, mainly for collectors, banks, and limited commercial use. The 1974 Kennedy half dollar is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. The outer layers consist of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This is the same composition used for half dollars starting in 1971, after the earlier 40% silver versions were discontinued. Because of that, the 1974 half dollar does not contain silver, but it remains a popular collectible because of its minting varieties, historical appeal, and some rare errors that can dramatically boost its value. 3 mints produced half dollars in 1974, Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with the D mint mark, and San Francisco, which released specially struck proof coins bearing the S mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced well over 80 million coins, while the Denver Mint produced more than 79 million. The San Francisco Mint produced over 2 million proof coins. These high mintages mean that most 1974 half dollars are still common today, especially in circulated condition. However, certain coins with exceptional luster, sharp details, or rare striking errors can command impressive prices among collectors. The obverse of the 1974 half dollar features the iconic portrait of John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. It shows Kennedy facing left, with the word Liberty spaced around the top edge, the date 1974 below, and the national motto In God We Trust split on both sides of the bust. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparro, displays the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings holding an olive branch and arrows, surrounded by stars and the inscription United States of America and half dollar. Collectors often look closely at strike quality, luster, and surface preservation. Some 1974 Kennedy half dollars can show weak strikes, especially from Denver, where production volume was high. Philadelphia coins tend to have moderate detail depending on the die condition. Proof coins from San Francisco feature deep mirrored fields and sharp frosted details, designed specifically for collectors who prefer premium quality. One reason the 1974 half dollar is popular among coin enthusiasts is the presence of a rare variety called the 1974 D double die obverse. This is one of the most sought-after varieties of the entire Kennedy half dollar series. The doubling appears mainly on the word In God We Trust and sometimes on the date. This variety happened when the working die received a misaligned secondary impression. Although these coins are not extremely common, they occasionally turn up in old rolls, bags, or inherited collections. When found in high quality, this double die obverse can be worth significantly more than a regular 1974 D half dollar. Another aspect of the 1974 half dollar market is the collector demand for coins with original mint luster, clean surfaces, and sharp strike details. The clad composition used in the 1970s tends to show scratches and contact marks easily, so high-quality examples are always desirable. Some collectors assemble full sets of Kennedy half dollars from circulation strikes, while others specialize in proof coins or hunt for rare varieties like double dies, missing layers, clipped planchets, die cracks, and off-center strikes. Speaking of mint errors, the 1974 half dollar has been found with several fascinating errors that can dramatically increase value. Off-center strikes, where part of the coin design is missing because the blank was misaligned during striking, can be extremely appealing. Wrong planchet errors exist as well, where a half-dollar design was accidentally struck on a smaller or lighter coin blank. These are rare but highly desirable. Another noteworthy error category involves misaligned dies, broad-struck coins, coins missing the clad layer on one side, and die breaks that create raised lines or blobs on the surface of the coin. If you're searching through rolls or a collection of old half dollars, examining each coin carefully can help you identify these unique pieces. Look for strong doubling, unusual thickness, missing metal layers, shifted details, or parts of the design that look distorted. Remember that genuine mint errors have certain characteristics, such as uniform texture and undisturbed surface flow lines, which distinguish them from post-mint damage. The 1974 Kennedy half dollar also has historical appeal because it represents a transitional era in American coinage. Although silver had largely disappeared from circulating coins by this time, the design of the half dollar remained unchanged. Many Americans in the early 1970s still remembered using half dollars regularly, and older collectors who saved change often put aside examples from each year. Today, this coin serves as an accessible and affordable entry point into the hobby, especially for new collectors looking to learn about US-clad coinage. While the typical value of most circulated 1974 half dollars is modest, the real value lies in high-quality examples, error coins, and rare double-die varieties. Proof coins from San Francisco with deep cameo contrast can also be desirable. Some coins with exceptional eye appeal, bright luster, and strong strike quality stand out from the rest and attract collectors who want premium examples for their sets. If you're building a collection around the Kennedy half dollar series, the 1974 issue is essential because of its mint varieties and availability. Its affordability makes it easy to obtain multiple examples, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco versions. It's also a great coin for teaching new collectors how to identify clad compositions, evaluate strike quality, and inspect potential varieties. Another interesting point about the 1974 half-dollar is its presence in hoards and bulk collections. Many banks and private collectors saved rolls and bags of half-dollars during the 1970s and 1980s. Today, as these old collections are sold or passed down, many 1974 coins re-enter the collector market. This has helped preserve large numbers of high-quality pieces that were never exposed to circulation wear. The design of the Kennedy half-dollar has remained largely unchanged since its introduction in 1964, which means the 1974 version fits neatly into the overall series. Collectors appreciate this consistency because it allows them to compare subtle differences in strike quality and design details from year to year. The 1974 coins from all three mints have their own distinct look, influenced by die condition, production volume, and handling differences during the minting process.